Hey everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Calling an Audible, a podcast recorded here at UMC discussing local, regional, and national news and sports. My name's Zach Greenberg. I'm a football player here at UMC, and I'm one of the hosts for today's show. I'm here with Greg Johnson, who's on the baseball team, Jeremy Newman, also on the football team, and lastly, Cassidy Klopaki on the softball team here at UMC. To start off today's show, we have some breaking news out of UFC. Greg, why don't you go for that?
So the notorious MMA with his savage antics is back at it again. So Dana White is going to strip him of his lightweight championship belt because he will not defend it. So it's going to go to the winner of the Max Holloway and Khabib Nurmagomedov fight. And looking on Deadspin, Max... This is interesting because Conor McGregor, he's taking like this safety rail and he's throwing it at a bus. He's smashing this place up. All hell is literally broken loose. Like, it's just a chaotic scene, okay? And odds are, I bet he's going to get kicked out of the UFC for this. He like injured a fighter who can't even go on the next card because he's got glass cutting up his face. I don't know, is this good or bad publicity for UFC right now?
I think that this is not surprising to me at all that Conor McGregor went and did something like this. He's known to have a very short temper, and I feel like this is good publicity for himself because he hasn't been in the spotlight as of late, and any publicity is good publicity. I've said that a few times on this show already, and I'm going to continue to say it. But this is obviously a bad rep for the UFC, and I don't see Dana White letting it go unpunished.
Yeah, according to Michael David Smith on Twitter, UFC President Dana White calls Conor McGregor's Actions Day the most disgusting thing that has ever happened in the history of the company. He's going to be sued beyond belief, and this was a real bad career move for him. I completely agree with that. He just screwed up his career, no joke. He's one of the greatest fighters in UFC history. He even crossed over to boxing, lost to Floyd Money Mayweather, which, actually wasn't a bad fight, but he's just too UFC to box. But he just ended his career. What's next? The WWE, like Ronda Rousey?
Well, I don't think he cares, to be honest. He's made his money. What does he have to really lose other than his career?
He needs to lose his most given attitude, that's for sure. I mean, this dude, get off your high horse, man. You just injured somebody by throwing a rail at a bus. You broke glass. This dude is in the hospital getting stitches on his face and glass taken out. It's like, what are you thinking just because you don't want to defend your lightweight title? It's like, come on, grow up, dude. Whatever, I'm over that. McGregor, he's dropped the ball on this one, honestly.
Not surprising at the end of the day.
No.
Going into more local sports news, UMC softball and baseball have been playing some games as of late. Cassidy, why don't you touch on some UMC softball for us?
Well, softball just dropped 2 games yesterday in Minot, and then we will be back in action in Upper Iowa on Saturday at 1 and 3 p.m., and then again in Winona on Sunday at 12 and 2. Hopefully we can turn the season around and get some more dubs.
What should we be looking for when it comes to softball this season? Any big hitting, pitching? What should we look for?
Hitting and pitching is looking good. We just need to clean up the errors in the field, and things should be a lot better.
Are any players standing out early in camp?
Well, actually, Rocky Bajorn was the March Player of the Month for UMC. So, yeah, she's been doing really well on third and first and at the plate. So, watch out for her.
Good to hear. Moving on to UMC baseball, Greg, update us.
Well, we finally halted our losing streak of 12 games by beating UMary in a sweep. First game was 5-4, and I believe the second game was 12-0 or somewhere close to that. But it's a great turnaround for the program after, there's been some injuries here and there. So it's been putting a damper on the team. But the fact that we got a couple wins, first 2 wins in conference this season, it's a step in the right direction, and we feel the only way we can go is up.
Any players standing out so far this season?
Yeah, we got Jelly, as usual. He's just a monster at the plate, and he's a defensive anchor at first. Mushy's doing really good at shortstop, and Stu in the outfield. It's a great group of guys out there. It's really not an individual person effort. It's more of a team-first mentality. Everyone's got to do their part. They got to get on base for the next guy. It's all about do your job and give the next guy the chance to do his job too.
Interesting. Now into some UMC football. UMC football starting spring camp, and they have 2 new coaches on offense. They have offensive coordinator Jared Hoddle and Sam Gooding at offensive line. Jeremy, at quarterback, you see everything with offense, so update us on that.
Well, the offense is really moving well. Despite losing all 11 games last year, we've stepped up, and with our new coaches, we've brought in a new culture, just trying to change the pace. And big thing about this next season is going to be discipline for the Golden Eagles. And the big thing is that starts with the coaching staff and goes on through the leaders on the team, and then down to no matter what, everyone has a role, and everyone needs to do their role well. So we're really getting into defining everyone's role now in the spring. And despite our spring activities heating up for football, the weather's not really cooperating with us. So we're going to have to go to the High Performance Center in Grand Forks on Saturday, where the UND Fighting Hawks, is it now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Still getting used to it. But that's where we'll practice probably this week, and then depending on weather next week is where we'll do another practice next Saturday. So it's going to be a good spring, I think. Spring games on April 21st at 2. So if you're in the Crookston area, come show out for the Golden Eagles.
And watch for us in the fall, too. We're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
So moving on to regional sports here. So latest from the Minnesota Wild, Ryan Suter fractured his ankle, and he required surgery, which he recently got, and he is out for the remainder of the season. And I personally feel like that's a big blow to the team, because he's one of the top 5 defensemen in the league. Honestly, that's how I feel.
Opinionated.
Everyone's got their opinions, including you, Mr. Jets fan. But anyways.
Ducks fan.
Oh, well.
Both.
You got 2 of them.
I got both.
Good for you.
I claim both of them.
Yeah, well, again, that's just your opinion because you think they're better, but they're really not. So, anyways, the Wild have a young defensive group coming up now because there's one of the broadcasters for the Minnesota Wild, Wes Walls. He was talking about only 2 of the current defensemen for the Wild are on the opening day roster for them, and the other 4 have basically been AHL call-ups. So the outlook is in question right now because the Wild just dropped their season-ending road trip with a loss to the Ducks, 3-1. And, well, the Ducks, what are they sitting, 7th right now in the conference?
They're currently in 3rd in the Pacific Division, 1 point up on LA. But they've clinched, and that's all that matters.
Now so have the Wild. And they're 1 win away from another 100-point season. Not sure where the Anaheim Ducks are.
It's okay. The Wild can't play with the Jets, and that's who they're going to be playing in the first round anyways.
Yeah, I can't wait. That'd be the one hockey game I'm looking forward to, that series. It's going to be just as good as when the Wild played Colorado.
It'll be a good 4-1
back.
series.
4-1? Yeah, 4-1 Wild.
I guess we'll find out.
But again, I'd like to see some people's opinions. So, Cassie, what do you think the Wild are going to do with this, being Suter's out now?
I'm not really sure. Suter's one of the biggest scorers on our team, and hopefully we can get some other players to score, like Parisi. That'd be good.
He's been pretty hot late. He's scored a bunch of goals, and he's racking up the assists in the past 11 games. So he's stepped up to the plate.
For sure.
So you're an avid hockey fan, right?
Yes.
So moving on to more regional news here. Logan Morrison of the Minnesota Twins. This is probably one of my opinion, dumbest things I've ever heard from a baseball player. He said that he sees no point in playing in sub-freezing temperatures.
Weak.
You are a designated hitter / first baseman. And, yeah, you signed with Minnesota. You know what you're getting. You knew what you're signing up for. Like, come on, bro. It's like New Rule Morrison captioned his post. You build a stadium, it has to come with a roof. This is fun for no one, including fans. It's 2018. People want to be comfortable while watching and playing games. Dude, are you an overgrown baby? Like, come on. Let's go around the horn. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Well, like I said, Greg, I said weak. Logan Morrison, it's It's professional baseball, man. You're getting paid millions of dollars to do a game that kids get to play. I mean, as it says here, he's off to a 0 for 11 start. I mean,
No, he recently got a double last game against the Pirates.
Well, even though we played the Orioles,
he was 1 for 4 with 1 run and RBI, and yeah.
So what's he complaining about?
He can't hit in the cold weather, so he's just making excuses. You're a major league ball player, and you're just coming up with things on why you can't play. Okay.
And it's not like he's from very far down south. He's from Kansas City, Missouri, and it definitely gets cold there. He definitely grew up playing baseball.
Winter isn't new to this, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, in softball, we have to play when it's 32 degrees, so suck it up.
Yeah, exactly. I've played games where it was snowing and sleeting. I didn't complain. I just wore long sleeves. But, whatever. I guess everyone's entitled to their opinions nowadays. Everyone wants a trophy, so you can have yours, Logan Morrison. You can have yours.
Well, it won't be the World Series trophy.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Yeah, right after the Winnipeg MLB team. Oh, wait, they don't have one?
That's okay.
That's tough. Ouch.
We couldn't have one. It gets way too cold up north.
More people would be complaining about cold weather then.
Yeah, could you imagine if Logan Morrison had to play in Winnipeg rather than Minneapolis?
He wouldn't.
He wouldn't.
Trade me. It's too cold over here. I don't want to play. It's pointless.
On another note, Villanova wins the national championship in basketball. And Notre Dame women's basketball beats Mississippi State on another buzzer beater. UMD men's hockey plays Ohio State tonight, and Michigan plays Notre Dame.
Next up on the agenda is talking about the Masters. A couple days ago in the par 3 contest at the Masters, Tony Finau made a hole-in-one, and celebrating, he dislocated his ankle, and on the course just popped it right back into place and walked back to the green.
Whoa, wait. Golf players are tough?
I guess
Ooh.
you could see him normally just sitting out of that, but he actually ended up staying in the Masters, and at the moment he is 3 under, tied for second. So, I mean, good for him, man. He's through 14, so big time for him to step up and see what he can do with his dislocated ankle, I guess. More news on the Masters is Tiger Woods has the 3rd best odds to win, but after a slow back nine today, he's only 1 over, so he's got get a big comeback for round 2 if he wants to stay in the cut.
Because it said he is tied, 24th right now?
Yep. That's,
I think this is all just hype.
But there's not a lot of difference between the scores right now. He's only
It is
4
very
shots
early in
back.
the card,
Yeah,
so.
he's only 4 shots back, and if Tiger's 100% like he says, and like he's been looking in warm-ups and in other tournaments that they've had in the past couple of weeks, he can definitely make up those 4 strokes even in one day.
For sure.
Well, right, but I mean, he finished runner-up in the Valspar Open, and then he tied for 4th or something in some other tournament.
He's had several back surgeries, and he's in his 40s.
Oh yeah,
already.
this is one of the biggest comeback stories in golf. Period. The fact when did he last
biggest
win
comeback stories in general. The fact that he came back after the whole scandal and the back surgery is
Tiger
pretty
Woods
impressive.
is a cheetah.
In other Masters news, Tom Watson won the par 3 contest at 68 years old, making him the oldest person to do it. Jack Nicklaus was also a participant at 78, and he placed 3rd. And the oldest player was Gary Player, and he was 82, and he didn't place in the top part of the tournament, but that's okay.
So yeah, golf is just a retirement game, right?
A good moment happened at the par 3 tournament where Jack let his grandson and caddy Gary, who's 15 years old, play hole 8 for him. Gary stepped up to the tee and hit his shot, and it rolled and rolled and rolled, and it went in, and it was a hole-in-one for his first career hole-in-one at 15 years old. And Jack sent out a tweet a little bit after that saying, "With all due respect to the Masters, allow me to put my 6 green jackets in the closet for a moment and say that I don't know if I have had a more special day on the golf course." I think that says a lot because he is quite the career,
That's
arguably the best golfer of all
That
time.
is a class act, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. But quite a good moment to see your grandson get his first hole-in-one,
Especially
on such a grand
a national stage, yeah, exactly. But I have to ask you this. Do you enjoy watching golf?
I enjoy watching tournament golf, like the major tournaments, like the Masters, U.S. Open, British Open.
It's only like the major golf events.
It can be like watching paint dry at times.
At times or like the entire time?
But honestly, a lot of people think baseball is like watching paint dry.
No.
A lot of people.
You're
do.
not going there today.
I'm not saying I think that. I like watching baseball, but a lot of people think that.
I understand where you're coming from, but yeah, I don't know. Me personally, golf is just boring. Respect with all the athletes. I've tried to play, and I'm gonna stick with my mini putt golf course on the Wisconsin Dells tour, but yeah, golf is not an easy sport. It's just one of the most boring things to watch, especially on TV, because I feel like all the commentators are just monotonous and just like, oh, look at that, nice beautiful birdie by Tiger Woods, and then next up is Jordan Spieth, and oh, look.
Spieth.
Spieth? Exactly, that's how much I pay attention to golf. It's just like, oh, double
Shameless
bogey.
plug from Canada. Adam Hadwin also went second at -3. It's relevant.
Canada, man.
Did he do it like a hockey stick, like Happy Gilmore?
I wish.
That would be cool.
Oh, and another interesting, Fred Couples, who is quite old, is at -1 and tied for 11th.
So who do we have winning this thing? What are our predictions?
I really personally want to see Tiger win. There's a lot of hype around him, and I think it would be nice for him in his life and be able to move forward with a nice little Masters win.
If he wins, greatest golfer of all time?
Does
that make him the GOAT?
It's tough. People will argue that he is currently, but you have a lot of golfers in the mix there that it'd be a tough argument.
I mean, if he does win another tournament, that's his 80th win ever. It's
a lot of dubs.
Outstanding.
But who has the most green jackets, though?
I believe Jack.
Is it Jack Nicklaus?
Yep.
A quick Google will help us with that.
Jack Nicklaus has 18 majors won. He has 73 PGA Tour victories. And this is on PGA.com, and they have Tiger Woods at number 2. And he has 14 majors won, and he has 79 PGA Tour victories, which is second all time. So I believe this could go hand in hand. I do feel, too, that if he wins this, I'd put him in the ballpark as the greatest golfer of all time. And now he can get one of his little iced tea in the gas stations you can get, like Arnie Palmer's or Golden Bears.
Tiger Woods, I don't think the combination for that drink would be very healthy.
Touche. So jumping back to baseball here, within recent events, I know this is a couple weeks old, but Jorge Polanco of the Minnesota Twins recently got banned 80 games by the MLB for a performance-enhancing drug. I believe it was stanozol, which is kind of like an anabolic steroid. But what I found the most interesting about this was he said he asked his trainer for a B12 iron combo, and this is also similar to Jenry Mejia way back when he tested positive for stanozol also. But this also kind of dates back to the biogenesis scandal we had with Ryan Braun, Melky Cabrera, Bartolo Colon, Yasmani Grandal, and A-Rod, and all those guys. But I have to ask you guys, do these players knowingly take PEDs to up their game, or are they blindsided by their trainers?
They know.
Why? What's your opinion?
I just think that they know. A lot of players are selfish and they want to be the best that they can be, so why not?
I wholeheartedly agree with Cassidy on that. There's no way that they don't know what they're getting themselves into, and they only have themselves to blame.
I could see it being both sides. I mean, if he's just asking for a B12 iron pill that would give it to him, I mean, yeah, you could get it from that, but is that what the trainer would give you, or would the trainer give you something else, Like, I don't feel like a trainer would voluntarily give someone steroids when that happens. So I think they could know, but at the same time, it could go the other way with just what they need. But if they want a B12 and iron, whatever they needed, they can get that out of their diet. Like, that's not a big deal for them. I mean, they're $1 million makers. They can spend whatever they want their money on, and if they want to spend it on a dietitian to make what they eat, so, you know.
But why would a company such as, was it Biogenesis? Biogenesis. Why would they knowingly be giving players performance enhancing drugs if they're not requested by the players themselves?
Well, the way I look at it is these players went to Biogenesis either as, maybe they went there to, because if I remember right, they went to Biogenesis to for muscle growth, because we're all athletes. How much of us have taken whey protein to, get stronger, a little more edge?
We all have.
Yeah, I'd say I have.
Not me.
Maybe creatine, but I just looking at it that way, it's just these players wanted to gain an edge, but I think they were trying to do it the smart way, and I believe they got blindsided by this.
They got blindsided because they got caught.
Exactly.
I mean, they were accused of obtaining performance-enhancing drugs, yes. The clinic is a specifically human growth hormone and is a defunct rejuvenation clinic. So they're rejuvenating lax muscles and trying to get them back into the fast twitch, and just looking at it, this is a sketchy situation. Granted, it's years old already, but I mean, you can't just tell me that players knowingly did this. There have been some that got completely blindsided. Because, this was back in 2012, so it is old, but how can you guys back that? Just saying that, they knowingly did it without any proof of the matter.
Well, I think, Greg, as a huge baseball star, they want to have what's best for their body, and they want to have anything that can help them. And I mean, they can trust a trainer to give them what they need. But I mean, if they do give something like Anthony Bosch gave A-Rod or whatever, the performance enhancing drugs, I mean, that's just Anthony Bosch being a scumbag to the guys that he trusts and that they trust him to.
There's no way he would have. Yeah, there's no way he would have done that without them knowing. Because, and at the same time, after all the suspensions went down for all the players, it was the first mass suspension and the largest since 1919 when the White Sox threw the World Series, and it's it's not like. These guys know what's going into their bodies. They have to know because after their suspension went down, they didn't even try and appeal the suspensions.
They just accepted it.
They just accepted it because they knew that they had the evidence against them, and they just had to accept it that what they did was illegal according to the MLB.
Okay, so do you guys stand with or against letting these PED users into the Hall of Fame? Do they belong there, or should they be black marked or black listed? I think
Pete Rose needs to be in the Hall of Fame before any of them. But if they're going to be...
Pete Rose, he got kicked out of the MLB for something completely different, though.
It is a completely different story.
Gambling.
But
it wasn't
if you're going to put them in the Hall of Fame, you got to put Pete in there.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Why put any of them in?
Or none. I agree. Either all of them need to go in.
Or none. There's no special exceptions?
There's no special exceptions.
But... Pete Rose gambled. He bet for his team to
win. He also have the most hits all time.
Yeah, but he didn't cheat.
I agree he didn't cheat.
But, yeah, so why...
So he should be in the Hall of Fame.
But you're saying if he's allowed in the Hall of Fame, everyone else should be too.
Well, not everybody.
You just said that, Greenberg.
Anybody else is deserving. What I'm trying to say is these players are being allowed into the Hall of Fame currently. Even after...
There's only three that we know of, and that's Pudge Rodriguez, Jeff Bagwell, and some other guy.
But they're in, and they're going to be continuing to let it. You can't tell me A-Rod's not going to make the Hall of Fame.
Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds have yet to get in.
But they will get in. They're not banned from getting in. Pete Rose is banned from getting in.
They have, I think, maybe 5 more years on the ballot. And I don't think they're getting in.
I guess we'll see. A-Rod's career just ended a couple years ago.
Yeah, he has to wait like 5 years or 10 years of retirement before he can be allowed to be even put on the ballot.
Right.
There's no doubt that dude is a great player, but he cheated.
Yeah, right, he did. But you don't think Barry Bonds is going to make the Hall of Fame?
I think he should.
Exactly. Point proven.
But because just looking at statistics, even before he started using, though, the things that man did.
Sure.
Phenomenal.
Same with Pete Rose.
He's a great baseball
Same
player.
with Pete Rose before he started gambling.
Yeah, Pete Rose should be in too. I'm not in disagreement with that. But I think it should be specific players.
Sure. I can agree with that.
Mark McGuire, I don't think he should be let in. Sammy Sosa, again, not. Roger Clemens, no. It's the ones that you have actually proven guilty. Because in America, the legal jury system is innocent until proven guilty. So that's where I rest my case.
And with that, we'll conclude Week 3's episode of Calling an Audible. We'll be back next week to talk more sports. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Calling an Audible is made possible through the assistance of the University of Minnesota Crookston Media Services Department and executive producer James Pagachnik. The views expressed on Calling an Audible are not necessarily the views of the University of Minnesota Crookston or its affiliates.